So I'm replacing a catalytic converter on a Nissan Frontier from Philadelphia. And it has mass airflow sensor and plausibility code, torn intake boot, valve cover is leaking, 130K. I'm sure it's lacking in maintenance, carbon service, fuel injection, tune-up. Has an oxygen sensor on the opposite side of the engine that's failed, that the wire harness is full of oil from the valve covers. But the important story to this is, here's the leading manufacturers that are out there with catalytic converters, and all of them. And they keep telling people, and the dealerships don't tell you this, and your local mechanic won't tell you this, is that the catalytic converter does not fail on its own. And do not install this catalytic converter to remedy a P0420 unless you know the root cause or was diagnosed. If the OEM part was purplish discolored of the catalytic converter body, don't just replace the converter, fix the problem. Now with engines burning and consuming so much oil today, this is a bigger problem for me. I have to tell everyone at 100,000 miles that they need a new engine because their piston rings are stuck or their intake valves are full of carbon. If the unit being removed shows signs of heavy carbon or soot, no kidding, dude. How do we get the customers, how do we get the people in the public when they come in for an oil change to ask for a fuel injection service and a carbon service along with a throttle body service and a PCV valve? It's the people lack the education and lack the funding and maybe not the knowledge when they're not getting it from the manufacturers. So now they push that all the way down to the guy at the shop, and now we're the bad guy when they bring in their 30,000 mile car or 60,000 mile car that's burning 2 quarts of oil every 1,000 miles. Or worse, the intake valves are so carbon that they're stuck open. The engine misfires and runs crappy on cold start and then goes away, and the customer's like, that's still okay, but no engine lights. So what they're saying is, don't change this unless you know. Well, by the time I get a customer in here for a cat efficiency code, all it has is a P0420. Yeah, and that means there's so many other things that are neglected that cause that to happen. And this is it. So they're saying if it's purple, discolored, fix the problem first. The unit being removed shows signs of heavy carbon and soot. No kidding. Well, if the EGR is stuck open or the intake valves are stuck open or a vacuum leak, you have to fix all this stuff. It hasn't had a GDI, it hasn't had a fuel injection, it hasn't had a throttle body clean. It all needs to be done. If it hasn't had a fuel filter replaced, most cars don't, but they have a sock inside the fuel tank that gets clogged too. It needs that work. You know, it's not a lifetime filter in your fuel tank. They get clogged. But people don't want to hear it because to get inside your gas tank and replace the fuel pump's another $1,000. So look at this. The fuel filter hasn't been done 150,000 miles, 200,000, whatever. You need a new fuel pump. That's $1,000 on average. It needs a tune-up too. That's another $1,000. Needs a carbon service, $300 depending on how bad it is. Throttle body service, spark plugs. You're talking about correcting 100% of your cat efficiency code problems or your tune-ups and maintenance is thousands of dollars. Probably the same reasons why people don't have their heating and air conditioning systems in their house maintenance and their vents maintenance all the time because it's so expensive. And then it says key to a successful catalytic converter replacement. Check for technical service bulletins. Correct all other engine management issues before replacing it. Correct all, not correct some, correct all at the time of replacement. Check or replace all the oxygen sensors. Old or sluggish O2 sensors cause fuel delivery problems. Sensors that aren't coding cause problems. And that's the truth. Decarbonization. 80,000 miles is a bit excessive for today's cars. I'm saying every 30,000 miles. If you have a GDI car, I'd say do it every oil change. It's not cheap to maintain it. It's expensive to get in there and carbon bust the valves. Check the exhaust system for leaks. Check the EGR. Check and test the fuel system. Check the OEM converter. Check the PCM and service bulletin to see if there's any updates for emissions controls. Spark plugs, wires, coils, you name it. Intake system, filters, boots. Do not use RTV silicone. Red or on that is damaged. I've never had that happen to an oxygen sensor. If people are slathering too much RTV on a catalytic converter before the O2 sensors, that will still liquefy before it cures and get inside the sensor and inside the catalyst. basically destroying the job. Do not use RTV or silicone sealers. They can damage that. Clear all codes. Drive cycle, retest all monitors, blah, 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 blah. So here you are. Here's another thing here about catalytic converters is not to just slap a cat on it. And 99% of the people that come in here, I would say almost 100%, my mechanics said, the dealer said, they're all liars and they're uneducated. And these guys are just putting it out here in black and white, or yellow and white. Thanks for watching.